This does not feel right.
We got a snow machine on fire at Lockhart.
Oh crap! That thing is toast!
My biggest concern is going to be a partial whiteout, potentially roll the helicopter over.
Chopper pilot Dustin Carroll is about to land where few pilots would ever dare.
I was a very avid snowboarder and always watching the ski and snowboard movies. You'd usually see guys getting dropped off in some amazing spots with these helicopters, and it was kind of my goal, was to do that sort of flying.
Drop.
Without Dustin, shots like these are impossible.
We couldn't do it without the pilot. He's pretty much the eye in the sky. He gets us to and fro. In the heli guide world, we call the pilot God.
Today, Dustin's flying some of the world's best skiers into the extreme mountains near Juneau. They ski for TGR, Teton Gravity Research.
TGR makes some of the best ski and snowboard films in the world. They're incredible athletes, just total legends. They're people that I've watched in movies for years and years.
Yeah, Mac.
They're making a new film, and Ian McIntosh is one of the stars. He needs Dustin to help him find the perfect slope to drop down on.
Take it one step at a time right now, just getting on the snow and seeing what the snow conditions are like.
Hey, Dustin, let's periscope up and take a look, see what we see. Roger.
They want to push the envelope, they want to push it into new terrain, they want to get into zones that are not easy to get into.
But pushing the limits can be fatal. In 1999, a helicopter crashed in these mountains, killing all 7 on board.
You have to be in control of the situation. You have to be very precise with the helicopter, and the consequences of not doing exactly that are huge.
Yeah, see that thing in front of us? Yeah. Somewhere, let's circle around in that area. And just
Okay.
It's a great spot, but it'll require Dustin to perform a dangerous toe-in landing.
Toe-ins where you don't have enough room to set the entire skids of the helicopter on the ground. So the helicopter's touching the surface, but you're still completely flying it.
In Alaska, risky maneuvers like this have led to at least 4 crashes in the last decade.
Sometimes the front of the skid's on the snow and the back of the skids is 1,000 feet in the air. You're using, all 4 limbs, both your hands, both your feet. Again, especially in a hover, you're constantly making corrections. You want to figure out what the wind's doing, exactly where you're going to put the helicopter, if it's on snow, if the snow is going to be soft, if it's going to blow, if it's going to create a whiteout. The rotor wash starts to blow that fresh snow, and you can completely white yourself out, and all you see is white, or you'll very quickly lose control. You're thinking about what can go wrong and planning a way out and how you're going to do that at any point if something's not exactly what you thought it was going to be.
A fog of loose snow blinds Dustin.
You should be scared of things going wrong because they can go wrong, very, very quickly.
He aborts the landing and searches for another spot to drop the skiers. 1,600 kilometers northwest, it's race day in Kotzebue.
3, 2, 1.
The all-women Gunner 120 snowmobile race is one of the longest and toughest in the region.
Hey, good afternoon, Zaz.
Hey, good afternoon.
Zaz Staley is flying watch over all 30 racers.
When I'm flying cover, I'm looking for somebody that's crashed and got hurt, somebody that's broke down. I can just swoop in there and haul them back to the hospital.
But right now, she is more worried about crashing into the other planes flying support.
Do you know how many of us are flying this today?
6.
Wow.
Flying with 6 other airplanes all within close proximity is pretty different. You don't want to run into each other. For the women's race, 7 airplanes is a lot. Usually there's 2 or 3 of us.
Well, she's hauling ass up here. Having a hard time catching her.
On your left, smile.
Cheese. Is that you, Lauren?
Roger, roger.
Are you going on my left side too, Dink?
Negative. I'm gonna cross over right in front of Virgil there and then come up right behind you and then go right past you.
All right.
When you've got 7 airplanes flying that close all together, you've got to be talking on the radio to each other. You've got to be communicating with where you're at.
Coming up on your left there.
I see ya.
Who's on what racer, who's behind who, where you are in relation to one another, because it'd be catastrophic to have 2 airplanes run into each other.
You know, as far as your role goes with the ski plane, there's a few things. Don't take your eyes off the airplane. This thing has a mind of its own sometimes. If there's a $25 surcharge for throwing up, I play rock and roll music sometimes. If you don't like it, it's tough.
In Haines, Drake Olson faces a logistical nightmare.
Let's do Billy, Adam, and Lewis personal gear right here.
He must fly a group of mountain guide students into the high peaks above Haines and then drop them onto a remote glacier. But there are 9 people and over 300 kilograms of gear, and his plane can only handle 540 kilograms max. So Drake decides he'll make 5 separate trips.
That's the idea.
First, he'll drop off group leader Meredith along with most of the essential gear.
Guide, plenty of fuel, plenty of food, and we'll get a place figured out and then come back for these others.
So are we gonna head over to Kashaknak?
I really want to go just over to the Davidson. It just seems like the weather's coming from that direction. I don't feel like complications.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to get you guys out. Do you have a preference?
I've never been to Kashaknak, so that'd be cool to check out a new zone.
Might give us a lot of problem, but it's scattered enough. It sort of makes sense.
But as the plane climbs higher, they hit a snow squall.
We're a flying machine going in the mountains, and I'm on full alert.
If visibility drops any lower, he won't be able to negotiate the tricky glacier landing.
If it's tough weather and tough conditions like that, you really have to be fully 110% concentrating. It can change so quickly, and I hate that feeling. Things are looking good, there's reasonable light. Suddenly it could change in a heartbeat.
Now Drake must decide. Continue delivering the team despite bad weather, or leave Meredith to endure a cold night alone on the glacier.
It's a never-ending story. The snow conditions are great and everything, it's just the lighting. Okay, be back in a little bit, I hope. You're kind of feeling this pressure to get the group all out. And that's a really tough deal to say, we gotta quit.
I'm just coming in behind here.
Thank you.
1,600 kilometers northwest, the women's snowmobile race is well underway.
Turning into you right now. I'll be behind you.
All right, I'll make a left turn.
The racers have spread out along the 240-kilometer trail, and so have the 7 planes flying cover.
She's getting speed now.
The terrain's really, really rough this year. It's really treacherous, and the likelihood of crashing taking the races out is really high.
If there's an accident, it's up to Zaz and the other pilots to rescue the racers.
I got 2 of them. I've got number 31 in the lead and trying to get a good number that looks like 32. not even 100 foot behind us. Oh, look at these two. She can see her and she wants to pass her bad.
We have a pass.
Sure makes me wish I was down there racing.
I used to race the Gunner 120 and I was kicking ass. If you ask any racer a story about racing, they're always winning until they crash or until they blow a bell. But I was winning. And I caught a bump and I started fishtailing and slammed into the ground, and I'm lucky I didn't break my neck. It's very dangerous. You're going anywhere from 30 miles an hour in the rough stuff to well over 112 across the straight stretches in the lake. If I crash and say I die and I don't make it, who's gonna watch my 4-year-old son, Joe? That's a big burden to put on my family. And it's not worth it for a trophy and a little bit of money. It's not worth your life. It's hard because I really want to be down there racing with the girls again, but it's also fun to fly cover for them too. I still get to be part of it.
They're gonna start hauling ass right here. Right, Jessica's hauling ass now. Oh, she almost did it. She started fishtailing. See, but the women have the toughest time on the corners.
Somebody's on fire.
Suddenly, race fans notice something in the distance.
On fire. See that black smoke?
Yeah.
I don't know about how to get a hold of the pilot. I don't have a VHF.
It sounds like we got a snow machine on fire at Lockhart.
All right, I'll get on 6-8. Holy crap! That thing is toast. There's a snow machine that caught on fire, so we'll fly over and check it out.
There's 3 of us between Lockhart and Pike Spit. You'll see the big plume of smoke.
Holy cow, big black boom, huh?
We got yellow Seacraft. Is that Adam? He picked up number 30. He's going to put her in the airplane.
There are a lot of unsaid rules about the guys that fly cover. The pilot closest will land and take care of it, and the others keep going on. All 7 planes weren't landing to check out one thing. We're still covering the race.
One of Zaz's buddies takes the call.
She has a bum arm. He's loading her in the airplane right now, and he's going to take her back.
Apparently your sled caught fire. Either a fuel line ruptured and got on the exhaust.
Is it still smoking?
No, it's gone. There's nothing there. Big hole in the snow.
Dang.
When you crash or when you wreck your machine, you're done. It's over. It's a huge letdown.
One racer is out, but there's no time to mourn. Zaz has to make sure that the rest of the women make it safely across the finish line. And at speeds of nearly 160 kilometers per hour, anything can happen.
Holy look at her go. I can't even keep up with her.
As they near the finish line, the competition gets fierce.
39!
Top 2 contenders were fighting each other all the way to the finish line.
Here comes the first rider, number 20, number 20.
The winner won by 15 seconds.
And for Zaz, the end of the race is a huge relief.
I survived my first flight flying the Gunner 120.
1,600 kilometers southeast, Drake is in a race of his own to get the remaining mountaineers to Mount Kashagnak before nightfall.
If you didn't get them all in, it could be days and days they could get in there. I'm monitoring the weather and the airplane all the time. There's these clouds and kind of snow showers coming through. You can see certain areas around that are getting obscure.
It's a blanket of snow out there. Once you get people on the ground, they can put markers out for you. But mostly visual clues is pretty much all that they can do.
I'm helping build a runway so Drake has some visual perspective when he comes into land. So we put some sleds up about 10 feet off where his skis would be landing so he can kind of judge what the ground's doing.
Every kilo of food and equipment is critical, but the weight is slowing Drake down.
It's not helping us, that's for sure. The airplane, when it's heavy, it doesn't climb as fast. It doesn't do anything as fast. It goes down faster.
It's all the time in your head. How's my fuel? Which tank am I feeding off of? How's my engine? Do I have oil level? How's my weight and balance? Given the conditions, cargo secure, because you want to stay alive and you want your people to be okay.
So we're clear for start?
Okay.
In the heart of the Talkeetna Mountains, Don Lee's flying a secret mission for Texan Drew Barrera.
Drew contacted me about this idea of bringing his girlfriend out and proposing to her.
I was planning on doing this later in the year, but figured what's a better time to propose to my girlfriend than Alaska.
And how long you been flying?
About 35 years now. I got my first certificate in 1976. But I've been flown all over the world. Australia, South America. I did 2 tours in Afghanistan.
Really?
I've been very fortunate, accident-wise.
These mountains are full of romantic places, but Don thinks he knows a perfect spot for Drew to pop the question.
There's a lake up here by this mountain with an island in it. Okay. Let's go look at that one.
It'll be fun working with Drew and then watch the surprise on his girlfriend's face when she gets proposed to.
Come to you to maybe do a proposal or a wedding or anything like that?
I've done, probably 3 or 4 over the last 30 years. The fun part is when they want to consummate make their marriage back before they get home.
Wait, do they do that though? Are you serious?
Oh, yes.
That's hilarious.
You ever heard of the Mile High Club?
Yeah? Well, I hope you get paid extra for that.
It's all part of the day's work.
Looks like a mogul field off there at our 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's still a lot of texture in the snow. Kind of surprised.
After aborting a dangerous landing, Dustin searches for a safer spot to drop the TGR skiers.
They kind of tell me where they want to go, and I tell them where, I can safely get them in.
Weather's changing a little bit there. The cloud layer right on the ridge. Just don't want to get stuck up there with the helicopters. They have a lot of survival equipment with them, but not much whiskey, so don't like to get stuck.
But survival equipment isn't always enough. Alaska has more avalanche fatalities per capita than any other state, and 25% of the victims are backcountry skiers.
I mean, all this stuff is really, not normal mountain flying. This is pushing the pilot to their limit. Dustin is our connection to this world.
See what's on the other side of this deal here.
Good to be out in the fresh air in the mountains. Woo! We're not just regular heli skiers. This is the motherland of our sport. This is the North Shore of skiing and snowboarding. This is where we all come to get the dream.
We're staying in the only blue hole out here right now. We've just been kind of following it around at this point. So you can see over there, there's that dark cloud, and to our south there is also another dark cloud. So if that sucks in, we've got to be able to get up and out of here.
Before they can ski, Kent must make sure an avalanche won't kill them.
Right now I'm doing just kind of a snow assessment. We've had some wind and some other meteorological cycles that could lead to potential avalanche danger. So I've got one layer down here that's a layer of concern. So I really want to study that because it's actually pretty deep. You take this, times it by a gazillion across the slope, and that's a lot of snow coming down if you don't make the right calls. Sooner or later the mountains they'll show you who's boss.
He finds the slopes safe to ride, and the team of photographers and skiers take their positions.
Ready? Yep.
Everybody ready?
100%.
Okay, all cameras are 100% set.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, dropping.
With just one run nailed, the weather takes a turn for the worse.
It looks like it's deteriorating. I mean, if this continues to deteriorate, we should go. It's looking like it's moving back in pretty quickly.
Main concern right now is we get closed in and the light goes flat, so the pilot can't really come in and pick us up.
The flat light is when the sunlight's diffused through the clouds and we lose all reference on the snow here. Many aircraft have flown into the terrain, into the snow because of that.
Oh, probably high enough here. Take a little look around. It's not looking so hot. When you're flying over snow where there's no reference and there's flat light, or it's basically like you're in a partial whiteout.
And that's not the only challenge.
You're always dealing in the mountains with currents of wind that are ascending and descending the mountains, especially these downdrafts. That's one of the most dangerous things about the wind in the mountains is you can get caught in strong downdrafts that can force an aircraft down.
Dustin makes it into the valley to pick up the skiers, but the chance for any more filming is gone.
Oh yeah, everything, yep. South of there from here is not looking so good.
You have to have a lot of trust in them, the guides and on the skiers, but also it's not their job to fly the helicopter. The TGR guys are here to ski, and when the weather doesn't cooperate, it's tough on them and it's tough on me. But ultimately, the pilot's decision, safety is the number one thing.
Skies are garbage. Skies are garbage.
Nearly 1,000 kilometers away, the skies are clear, and Don Lee thinks he's got the perfect spot for Drew to propose to his girlfriend.
To be honest, I like this spot.
We can land here.
Holy crap. It's amazing how fast this thing just turns just by barely touching it.
Airplanes are so cool.
How old is this airplane?
It was made in 1958.
That's about as old as the ring I have.
That's cool.
She'd flip out. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That'll be a once-in-a-lifetime thing, obviously. So, I only plan on doing this once, so might as well do it right.
Good for you. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's under the impression we're going on a sightseeing tour, which we are, but she'll get to see all of Alaska and the whole snow and maybe Mount McKinley or something, and then we'll land.
You think this is a neat place? You think this is a place you want to do it?
This place is amazing. So the plan is we're gonna land on the lake and take a photo op, and then I will drop down on one knee and ask her to marry me. This is perfect.
Great.
I would say let's do it here.
All right.
I'm getting married.
"850 kilometers southeast in Haines, Drake hustles to finish his runs to Mount Kashagnak.
You can see right here it's coming up.
But flat light conditions threaten to take him down.
Flat light is when you're looking down on the surface, it goes to fuzz. So the depth perception is not there. As soon as a cloud moves between you and the sun, instantaneous flat light.
Pretty flat.
Flat light is tricky son of a gun. It's an amazing phenomenon.
In flat light, objects can be far closer than they appear.
It's like this leap of faith as you get down in it. The fear is that you drop down into flat light and you don't pick up the surface. You have no idea how far above snow you are.
And that deception could send Drake and his plane crashing into the glacier. Flat light has led to more crashes in Alaska than in all the lower 48 combined.
You can operate in flat light, but it demands a really diligent respect for the fact that when it gets that shade or two darker, it's like, no, let's not dink around with this because it will get you.
Oh, here it is.
You're done. You survived it.
Thank you.
You bet.
See you later.
See ya. One more to go.
Drake has one final trip to fly, but the light is deteriorating rapidly.
Oh man, it doesn't look so great. Go. Same old song and dance. The lighting is the most difficult thing.
If Drake can't get the rest of the group and their gear to the training site soon, the ones he's already dropped off could be stranded on the mountain for days.
It's a tough call. People waiting to go out. You know, it's just a pain in the ass. But yeah, you can feel this like sick feeling in your stomach. It's like, this does not feel right. Nope, we ain't doing this. It's not worth it. The ante is up. You're dealing with things that you don't know. You're just going to go feel it out.
Drake makes it back to home base, but 3 more students still need a ride to the glacier.
Time's a wasting.
The light is failing by the minute, but Drake decides to go for it.
All right, we're out of here.
A front is moving in. It may be his last chance to complete the mission before he gets grounded for good.
Engine radio, Cessna 9453 Charlie.
You run into any adverse conditions? Appreciate pilot reports. Monitor Haines ASOS for current altimeter.
Here we go. We can do this, but we cannot falter. It's got to go right.
The snow conditions are actually really nice, but the lighting comes and goes. You know, we may not get them all in today.
The flat light turns the horizon into a white blur. It's nearly impossible for Drake to make the landing.
Pretty flat coming at it from this angle, but she's got a marker there.
Yeah, home sweet glacier.
Thank you.
That sled helped a lot.
Okay, good. Drake's huge for us. We couldn't get up to the glaciers if it weren't for him. And then additionally, it's great to know, you know, Drake is someone who we can use in case something happens or we need to get out of here.
These guys are going to be out for up to 24 days, so I thought they might be thirsty. A little bit of whiskey for them. Yeah, got them all in there. Oh boy, I'm beat.
Pier 736 is taxiing to go Cayena.
Where you headed?
Galena.
Back in Cayena, Zaz was hoping to call it quits for the day, but 2 passengers just hired her for a long ride.
I like being in the city and calling a taxi cab. That's what we do. We're an air taxi service that flies from village to village, wherever you need to go, as long as the weather's good.
She's taking 2 drilling engineers to their work site, nearly 300 kilometers away.
We do drilling work. We basically take samples of engineering company can design and build a road, access road for a gravel borrow pit.
Can you hear me, guys? Yep.
Along for the ride is Zaz's son, Little Joe.
On to Hawaii, it's a 6-hour nonstop flight. You're not going to Hawaii? Oh, we're not? No, we're going to Galena. Bill, have you ever been to Galena before? No. Oh. You're natural. That's fun. What? I love you. I love you too.
But this flight to Galena will take almost 3 hours over a barren wilderness that could kill them if the plane goes down.
Flying from Canada to Galena isn't one of our normal flights.
With Joe on board, Zaz is extra cautious.
Extra precautions for long trips. I make sure when I'm going across a lot of country with a lot of nothing in between that I at least take the satellite phone. Definitely take extra fuel. Go pee before you get in the plane.
Which one are we going on?
Oh, you must be Drew.
Hey, Don.
Hi, Drew.
How's it going?
Good to meet you. And who's
This is
this?
Holly.
Hi, Holly.
Nice to meet you.
In Talkeetna, it's time for pilot Don Lee to carry out Drew's secret plan.
She has no idea. No idea at all. This is a complete surprise.
So you guys just want to go on a little scenic flight?
Yeah,
A little
yeah.
buzz around. Have you been in a small plane before?
Never.
You haven't? Oh, it's a lot of fun. Well, evidently the plan now is that we're going to go ahead and flying out to a destination where Drew will go ahead and make the proposal.
This plane is so cool.
It's super retro.
From here on out, it's all Alaska. There's not much out here but wilderness. You could fly for 4 or 5 hours and not see another cabin or another road or anything for hundreds of miles. How are you liking this?
I love it, thank you.
The way you see Alaska is in a small plane. This is really so beautiful.
What's going on?
I think we're going to make a precautionary landing here. We're having a little trouble. Did anybody smell any smoke or anything? Yeah, smoke gas. That's not good. Here's a fire extinguisher. You know how to use that? I'm serious. Something was up here. Sure, that thing should be blowing and not sucking. I think I got some ice in that cylinder seal. We're going to have to make an emergency landing here, a precautionary landing. I need to thaw that out. Oh, man. Mayday, mayday. Mayday. Any station, copy. We're 62 longitude, 157, northwest 148. We're having some engine trouble here.
High above the Talkeetna Mountains, matchmaker Don Lee comes up with an excuse to ground his love-struck passengers.
Ice in that cylinder seal.
Yeah. Sorry about that. It's just safer to land and check this stuff out. Yeah, it's that sphincter seal. All right, I just got to put my hand on it and warm it up, and then that little block of ice will drop out.
I love you.
I love you too.
Yeah? Got something for you.
Talking about
Holly. This all happened not because of you wanted to go sightseeing, because I wanted to ask you a question.
Are you serious?
Holly, I love you so much. You make my day bright as can be. Can I have your hand in this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
All right. Oh, my God.
I love you.
It's so sweet.
I love you too.
That's a real tear. Are you guys going to consummate the marriage here, too, or?
Maybe.
Maybe. Atta girl.
So no real engine trouble?
It was all planned. There really isn't a sphincter seal on an airplane, but today we had one and it was going bad.
I was a little worried. I was handling the fire extinguisher, so I was reading the directions, making sure I knew what I was doing.
Morning.
Back in Juneau, the weather's finally lifting, giving Dustin and the TGR skiers one last shot at completing their film.
Yeah, it's clearing up. Got some good clearing to the north, so I think we're gonna follow that clearing and get these guys to get their skis on the snow.
We're gonna fly from here to Mountain Nun and wait for this zone over here to open up. Clouds seem to be holding off right about here today.
In the right conditions, you can do things that look impossible. You learn what conditions you can do it in, and everything has to be just right. The wind has to be just right, and the snow has to be right, the lighting has to be right, but when all those things come together, that's what you get to see in the movies.
To the moon, Dusty, take us to the moon. I want to be a spaceman. Ah, the flying machine.
Love it. The TGR guys need perfect snow, perfect weather, perfect flying conditions to do what they're here to do.
You know, ceiling's pretty high, the lighting's not great yet. There's still kind of a high overcast layer behind us that hopefully burns off and improves our light a little bit, but definitely the biggest weather window we've had in the last week.
Their goal is to return to the killer slope they saw on day 1, so Dustin can give the landing one more try.
Right below us looks pretty rough to ride.
Yeah, but sure beautiful to see some new terrain.
Yeah. Yeah, see that thing in front of us?
Yeah.
Somewhere, let's circle around in that area. Just
Okay. Right at our altitude here at 3 o'clock, right above that, just little pepper there.
Yeah.
Or do you want to go up? There's that.
No, right where you're looking's good.
There's one little knob up a little higher too.
Dustin finds the ridge, but once again faces the dangers of a self-induced whiteout.
My biggest concern coming in here is going to be blowing snow. Can completely white out your vision so you can't see any references outside, potentially roll the helicopter over.
The wind, how much fresh snow is, how dry it is, what the temperature's been, all affect how bad that whiteout is going to be.
You can go a little bit more farther.
Yeah.
So the helicopter's touching the surface, but you're still completely flying it.
Now the skiers must climb onto the ridge while trying to avoid the deadly rotor blade.
So if you're just light on the skids, if you don't adjust and reduce your power, you're going to become airborne, which could knock somebody off. And so even though it's, extremely loud, the wind's blowing and they're in this crazy spot, you need to take it slow.
One slip of the controls could send them all plummeting to their death.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going, you're good.
When you have an athlete getting off on one of these ridges that's very precarious, a little bit of movement from the helicopter could be disastrous.
Dustin drops 2 skiers onto one of the steepest ridges in the area, then rushes the camera crew to a killer vantage point.
Couldn't do what we do without these guys for the type of specialized landings we're looking for, toe-ins, the terrain, and then just the communication between the cameraman and the pilot is absolutely key.
The second crew will shoot aerials from the helicopter, and it's Dustin's job to keep the athletes in frame.
That's actually one of the times where I feel the most pressure is getting those shots. You only get one shot at it. There's no second take. So if you are not in position with the helicopter, you don't get the shot how they wanted it to. There's no way to just, okay, reset, take 2. You gotta have your head on a swivel. You gotta look in every direction because you're maneuvering to keep the skier in view, and you're also having to maneuver not to hit anything.
Everybody ready?
100%.
Tier 736 is on the left base for 7 Galena.
Hey, Ben, close. See you guys in a little bit then.
And Boxcar 736, we're down and cleared.
We got the guys down here that They needed to get down here and get their drill rig put away.
1,400 kilometers northwest, Zaz drops her passengers in Galena. Now she can finally end her day and spend some time with little Joe.
The weather is beautiful. It's an awesome spring day down here. Temperatures are warm. We're gonna go up to our camp and we're gonna go have a little picnic up there and have a good time. You put your belt on by yourself?
Yeah.
High five.
Can you hear me, Mom?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I'm all set, Mom.
He's 4 and he already loves to fly, and even when I'm not trying to teach him things, he's learning.
Look, the helicopter's landing. Hey! Yep. Yep.
It's really good one-on-one Mom and Joe time.
Alright, your turn, ready? 1, 2, 3, so turn. Hurry up. I'll help you. Put your hands on me. Growing up on my serious talks with my dad where I was in the airplane, like boys and the birds and the bees.
Hey, Joe, we hear you coming.
We're 2 miles out. 2 miles out! Hey, buckle up, we're gonna land.
We're up at our camp on the Squirrel River and we're gonna roast a few hot dogs and jalapeno cheddar moose sausages and enjoy the sunshine and our friends and head home before dark. You wanna cook it for me?
No, you don't have. Just put it by the fire and it won't get no more cold.
Okay. I love coming out here. Joe loves it out here. It's beautiful. I love having miles and miles of nothing around me. I'm just a village girl at heart.
We're gonna go fish for fish.
I love living out here. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, and I want Joe to grow up the way I did. You know what, Joe? We should go help clean up and start thinking about heading back. I don't think there's anywhere better in the world to grow up. You make tracks for me? Let's go home, Joe.
How you doing, Barbie?
Barbie is 100%?
The stars have finally aligned for Dustin to help TGR get the money shots they've been waiting for.
We need perfect conditions, really, to get out here and do what these guys want to do, and it doesn't happen every day.
Go, go, go.
We're shooting handheld from inside the helicopter right behind me, and they don't have a lot of freedom of movement, so we really have to keep the skier in their frame. And the skiers, especially in this terrain, they move extremely fast and they accelerate extremely fast. They can run away from the helicopter if you're not in position right where you want them to be. And this weeks of planning and preparing, they may only have one shot at it.
Hey, Dustin. Yep. If you wouldn't mind taking left over here, let's go look at that.
Yeah, Steve, you got the better view on it from there.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, dropping.
If it were easy, there'd be a lot more people out here making the movies. These guys are best of the best, skiers, guides, photographers, and filmmakers, and so just got to get the right crew together in the right conditions, and the places that they can go are unbelievable. It's amazing.
Woo! That was a nice afternoon. Morale boosting.
It's a challenge, but it's fun. I mean, it's cool to watch it. I mean, you can't have a better seat to see it from than the helicopter.
That felt real good.